Look, this just proves it. In case you did not believe Shams and me when we said it. Nobody actually knew what LeBron was planning to do. We are talking about one of LeBron's absolute closest friends in the league. And they were literally just on vacation together. Draymond Green is officially heading to Philly. The deal is completely done. The decision is made and the entire NBA is bracing for what comes next. Players around the league are already reacting and what they are saying about this duo tells you everything. This completely breaks the championship race wide open. And it is just the start of what is shaping up to be the most massive offseason story in years. It started like so many offseason earthquakes, with Philly making a run nobody saw coming this fast. The 76ers had already pulled off a major blockbuster for Jaylen Brown. That trade immediately gave the franchise a championship-proven elite wing who could slot in perfectly alongside superstars Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. That alone would have reshaped the East, but then LeBron James went and signed. The very second that news was confirmed, the reaction across the basketball world was instant and absolutely overwhelming. This was not just another veteran quietly ring-chasing late in his career. This was LeBron James, the most influential player of his generation, deciding to take his talents to a city desperately searching for its next championship chapter. Suddenly, the 76ers were no longer just trying to win with Joel Embiid. They transformed into a legitimate championship favorite with a starting lineup capable of going toe-to-toe with anyone in basketball. The shockwaves hit the NBA almost instantly. And the question on everyone's mind was the same one that always comes up whenever LeBron changes teams. Who else is coming? Rival teams had to pivot, and fans started making dream lists. Insiders immediately started blowing up their sources, and in the background of every serious hoops discussion, one particular name kept popping up. That name was Draymond Green, and honestly, it is not very hard to see why. LeBron James and Draymond Green share one of modern hoops' most highly documented relationships. They went to war against each other in 4 straight NBA finals, building a rivalry that felt just as personal as it was highly competitive. They talked trash, played incredibly physical defense, and pushed each other to absolute limits in ways that only happen when two legendary competitors deeply respect each other. Those epic final showdowns were easily some of the most analyzed series ever. Plus, the constant, physical back and forth between LeBron and Draymond on the court became the ultimate storyline inside every single one of those series. Draymond's unique ability to switch onto LeBron defensively made things incredibly tough, even for a superstar of his legendary size and skill. That versatility was a massive reason why the Warriors' dynasty was so unique. Meanwhile, LeBron's genius ability to find a counter every time the Warriors thought they had him figured out is what made their battles legendary. This intense rivalry stretched across several years and multiple historic playoff series. Yet, somewhere inside all that intense competition, a real friendship actually formed. We are not talking about some fake, post-game handshake either. They built a real bond, training together, and constantly praising one another in public. LeBron has openly raved about Draymond's high-level basketball IQ for years now. Draymond has consistently returned the favor, repeatedly calling LeBron one of the absolute greatest players to ever lace up. They move in the same circles, share close league connections, and have built a tight bond. It is the type of deep, mutual respect you rarely see develop between guys who spent so many years trying to destroy each other. Then there is the representation factor. Both stars are elite clients of Clutch Sports. Founded by Rich Paul, this agency has grown into one of the single most influential and dominant forces behind NBA player movement. When two high-profile clients share an agency and one moves, heavy speculation is completely inevitable. Rumors about whether the other star might follow them are almost impossible to stop, and we have seen this script play out before in the league. Even casual observers understand how agencies guide major career decisions without any direct public coordination. The exact moment LeBron agreed to join the Philly roster, that clutch connection with Draymond poured pure gasoline on the fire. It turned an already hot rumor into an absolute wildfire. Then, one major question shifted the entire conversation. Yahoo Sports insider Kevin O'Connor was among the first credible voices to lay this scenario out in plain terms. He publicly broke down the tough choice facing Draymond, framing it in a way that instantly captured the attention of the entire basketball world. The question he asked was incredibly straightforward. Does Draymond just go back to Golden State, collect his check, and stay loyal to Stephen Curry despite the Warriors' front office had actually tried to trade him just 5 months earlier and wouldn't hesitate to do it again? Or does he look around at other options? Follow LeBron to Philadelphia on a minimum deal, or pull off a sign and trade to finally play right alongside the guy he competed against for years on the absolute biggest stages in the sport? O'Connor noted that plenty of teams would love to land Draymond, but that Philadelphia angle was the one that immediately captured the most attention. That framing spread like wildfire. Once a respected insider put those two paths side by side in plain language, the conversation stopped being abstract. It became incredibly real, and the buzz hasn't stopped growing since. The contract decision that set this whole thing in motion deserves its own examination, because the original intent wasn't what most fans assumed. Draymond Green opted out of his 4-year, $100 million contract with the Golden State Warriors, walking away from a guaranteed $27.7 million salary for this upcoming season. The plan, as everyone widely understood it at the time, was for Draymond to build some real financial flexibility that would allow the Warriors to make a legitimate run at landing LeBron James during free agency. The expectation was that once LeBron's situation got resolved, Draymond would simply re-sign with Golden State on a fresh deal worth around $28 million, and the team would move forward together. That entire plan collapsed the moment LeBron chose Philadelphia. Suddenly, Draymond was a free agent with absolutely no clear path back to the roster he spent his entire career building, leaving the Warriors scrambling to figure out what comes next. Without the superstars she spent the whole offseason trying to land. The real truth behind Draymond's opt-out was actually meant to achieve is much more nuanced than the simple narrative suggested. The move was understood internally as a strategic way to give the Warriors the financial tools to reshape their roster around Stephen Curry, with their primary goal being a real run at LeBron James during free agency. Draymond wasn't necessarily signaling any desire to leave Golden State. He was sacrificing his guaranteed money to help the franchise land the biggest free agent on the market. When LeBron chose Philadelphia instead, that context got lost in the public conversation entirely, and the focus shifted almost overnight to whether Draymond himself would be the next big domino to fall. Understanding exactly why a rumor gains momentum is just as important as understanding the actual facts behind it. In the NBA, whenever a superstar changes teams, the ecosystem around that player immediately becomes one of the most watched spaces in the sport. Every name connected to that star is examined, and every contract situation gets analyzed. Every friendship is placed under a microscope. LeBron James has the kind of massive gravity that pulls entire organizations, storylines, and narratives directly into his orbit no matter where he goes. He did it in Cleveland, in Miami, in Los Angeles, and now in Philadelphia. The big difference this time is his arrival coincided almost perfectly with the free agency eligibility of one of his absolute closest friends in the league, a player who happens to be one of the best two-way forces of his generation. That potent combination created conditions that were almost purpose-built for the kind of widespread speculation that followed. Players all across the league took notice of it. Active players, retired veterans, and analysts who played at the highest levels of the game, all of them understood instantly what adding Draymond Green to a roster already featuring LeBron James and Joel Embiid would mean for the competitive balance of the NBA. This wasn't some fringe conversation happening in anonymous corners of the internet. These were real basketball minds openly discussing the possibility because they fully understood the stakes. Veterans who played in playoff series know exactly what Draymond looks like from across the court. They know how it feels to build a game plan against him, and still end up a tram defensive rotation. You didn't see coming because Draymond read your action way before your own teammates did. Players who have competed in the Western Conference against Golden State know that the Warriors' elite defensive reputation was built on his presence more than any other factor. And when those same players imagine that presence being added to a team that already has LeBron and Embiid, they're doing the same math every front office in the league is quietly doing right now. When you put a player of Draymond Green's caliber alongside two other future Hall of Famers on a squad that already had legitimate championship ambitions, you aren't just talking about a good signing. You're talking about a franchise that could fundamentally change what winning in the NBA looks like. For the next several seasons, the players inside the league completely understood that, and the reactions reflected it. The basketball fit for Draymond Green in Philadelphia is almost impossible to dispute. Start with his defense. Draymond is one of the most versatile defenders the modern NBA has ever seen, a player who guards all 5 positions effortlessly. He reads complex plays before they even happen, shouting out defensive rotations with a precision that lifts everyone around him. And on both ends of the floor, he makes those high-stakes, split-second decisions that you only learn to make in big moments. Look at the pieces already there. Joel Embiid is easily the most dominant interior force the game has seen in decades. Tyrese Maxey has developed into an incredibly explosive young playmaker. And then you still have LeBron James, still one of the most complete offensive weapons in basketball history. Drop Draymond Green into that mix to coordinate the defense, running plays from the elbow, setting pick and rolls, and bringing veteran, championship-proven leadership, and you have a perfect basketball puzzle. It is the dream lineup coaches chase but almost never actually find. Plus, his willingness, sacrificing his own stats for wins is not something you can easily teach. That is something Draymond has baked directly into his DNA as a player, and it is going to translate instantly onto a Philly squad built around superstars who desperately need that exact type of support. Now consider Golden State's side. It is just as critical to look at the Warriors here. They built a historic modern basketball dynasty, entirely around the trio of Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond. What he meant to them goes way beyond traditional stats. He was the literal glue holding everything together for the Warriors. We are talking 4 championship rings, multiple finals trips, and a style that changed how everyone defends, spaces, and passing. Make no mistake, the identity of those legendary Golden State teams was completely tied to Draymond being on the court. His fire, his voice, his ability to anchor the defense, and his elite playmaking from the front court defined exactly what those teams look like at their absolute best. Think back to the peak Warriors and what made them completely impossible to stop. Sure, you had Steph's unreal shooting and Klay's lethal scoring, but the glue anchoring every single defensive possession and driving the offense through its most complicated half-court moments was always Draymond. He was the guy making the split-second reads to keep the offense organized when defenses started bringing the pressure. On defense, he was calling out rotations in real time, jumping passing lanes, and switching assignments on guards and bigs without ever losing a step. You do not just replace a player like that. You either keep a star like that or regret losing him to a rival, especially a rival built right around LeBron James, would signal the painful end of a dynasty that took over a decade to build. That is a reality the Golden State front office would be incredibly reluctant to accept. The 2 paths ahead of Draymond Green carry massive weight either way. On one side, he has the possibility of joining LeBron James in Philly, chasing another ring alongside his closest friend in the league, on a roster that is already absolutely loaded with championship-level talent. Think about it. There is a version where Draymond gets to write a final chapter that looks completely different from anything he has done before. He has accomplished so far, walking away from the familiar comfort of the Bay to chase one more ring in a brand new city with a different group. He will walk right into Philly locker room commanding immediate respect with 4 championship rings, a Hall of Fame resume, and a deep friendship with the superstar around whom the entire franchise is being built. That is huge. Players who have won multiple titles and eventually switch teams always talk about how tough it is to adjust to a brand new culture, a different system, and entirely new ways of communicating. For Draymond, that transition would be way easier because the guy he is going to be sharing the court with most of the time is a brother he has known and trusted deeply, long before they ever shared an NBA court together. That carries serious weight. Then again, look at everything he would be leaving behind in Golden State. 4 championships, a legacy tied directly to the greatest point guard in basketball history, and a Warriors locker room where his voice is the absolute bedrock of the culture, alongside Steph Curry, who has been his partner through every single major milestone of his professional career. There is also the question of how history judges superstars who stay with one team versus those who walk away. Draymond's entire legacy is built inside that Golden State system, those deep-rooted brotherhoods, and the very identity of that franchise. Walking away from all that carries a deep, heavy cost. The timeline here is everything. It explains exactly how the rumor mills spun out of control, starting when LeBron James signed with Philly. That one massive signing instantly changed the way everyone looked at every other free agency situation in the league. Then came Draymond Green's contract decision right after, and having those two moments happen so close together instantly set the basketball world on fire. And this was all before a single shred of actual reporting came out. But as the chatter around the NBA got louder, more insiders chimed in, and every single voice added to the noise, pushing the speculation closer to a real deal. Still, there was absolutely no official word from either side. No solid reports confirmed any actual talks were happening. Yet the sheer weight of the situation, their friendship, the timing, their shared agent, and the obvious on-court fit, kept this massive story breathing and expanding. That personal bond is exactly why this whole rumor feels different than your standard summer trade talk. LeBron James and Draymond Green have always talked about each other far beyond the usual corporate, media-friendly scripts that most NBA stars stick to. Instead, they speak with a raw directness that points to a real bond. They train together in the summer, logging quiet hours away from any cameras, maintaining a connection that easily survived years of on opposite sides of the most intense, high-profile raw rivalry the NBA saw back in the late 2010s. Draymond has never held back his deep respect for LeBron's insane longevity, his powerful leadership, and his ability to keep playing at a legendary level deep into his career. LeBron, in turn, has repeatedly made it clear that he respects Draymond as one of the smartest, most dominant defensive players of their entire generation. Basketball fans have watched this bond grow year after year, so when two superstars with that kind of deep history suddenly get linked in serious trade talks, the human element of this story becomes totally impossible to separate from the sport itself. That is exactly why the reaction has been so incredibly massive and persistent. Fans are not just looking at roster spreadsheets here. They are deeply invested in their real-life brotherhood, imagining what Philly would look like if Draymond actually made the leap. Reveals absolute matchup nightmares that almost no team in the NBA is built to handle. Remember, the Sixers already have LeBron James, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Jaylen Brown. That core four alone is an absolute defensive terror for any opponent on any given night. But sliding Draymond Green into that mix would change the entire equation. Think of LeBron's size and high basketball IQ at the point of attack, with Embiid anchoring the paint with raw physicality, Maxey disrupting passing lanes to spark fast breaks, plus Jaylen Brown bringing elite two-way versatility and championship pedigree on the wing, and then you have Draymond orchestrating everything from the middle, calling out switches, rotating before plays even begin to develop, making those crucial split-second communication calls that elevate good defenses into legendary historic units. The offensive side would be just as terrifying. Picture LeBron and Draymond running a lethal two-man game with Embiid commanding the post, Maxey flying in space, and Brown attacking closeouts from the corner. That gives Philly a wild variety of looks. that opposing defenses would sweat overall through training camp and still never truly figure out. The case for this squad, winning a title is not some wild stretch of the imagination. It is just a logical projection of what that roster can do. But the actual hurdles standing between this dream and reality are absolutely massive. Severe salary cap issues are the most obvious hurdle. The Philadelphia 76ers, just like any other franchise that has poured serious cash into multiple superstars, operate in a tight financial reality where every single roster move demands genius accounting, creative roster management, or both. Remember Draymond Green as a multi-time champion and one of the absolute most respected veterans in the NBA deserves a paycheck that matches his true value. Trying to squeeze his contract into Philly's tight budget without tearing down the depth that makes them work is a massive puzzle that front offices can spend weeks trying to solve and often fail. The luxury tax bill alone is heavy enough to completely wreck what looks simple on paper. Then you have to ask what Philadelphia would actually have to sacrifice. Would they trade away vital rotation pieces that they deeply value, absorb massive salary in a sign and trade, or battle those strict second apron rules which completely tie the hands of top-tier contenders? Plus, Golden State's willingness to play ball in a trade adds a massive layer of complexity. If Draymond decides he wants out, and the Warriors accept they can't re-sign him, a sign and trade is on the table. But those talks would be highly contentious on multiple sides, and they rarely unfold cleanly. Golden State is going to want real value in return. Meanwhile, Philadelphia wants to minimize what they give up. And somewhere right between those two positions is the deal, if one actually exists. None of this means a move is impossible. It just means the long road from rumor to reality runs through conversations, calculations, and compromises that simply are not visible from the outside. But the broader reason this storyline has captured the entire basketball world's attention comes down to what these iconic players actually represent. LeBron James and Draymond Green are two of the absolute defining figures of the last 15 years of NBA history. They have repeatedly clashed in the league's biggest moments, and those epic battles help define exactly what modern basketball excellence looks like today. So when two players with that kind of legendary history end up linked by serious trade speculation, the massive weight of everything they represent follows the story wherever it goes. Fans who grew up witnessing their rivalry are now watching to see whether fierce competition becomes collaboration. That is the kind of story basketball only creates once every few years, and when it happens, the entire sport pays attention. Looking at the full arc, the bigger picture quickly comes into focus. Philadelphia traded for Jaylen Brown, then landed LeBron James in free agency, transforming them overnight into one of the most formidable, dominant rosters the Eastern Conference has seen in years. Draymond Green declined a massive $100 million contract specifically to help Golden State land LeBron. And when that plan fell apart, his free agent status suddenly carried an entirely different set of massive implications. Kevin O'Connor put the Philadelphia possibility into clear public language that the entire basketball world immediately ran with. The Warriors front office, which had tried to trade Draymond Green just months earlier, gave everyone every reason to believe he might be open to exploring his options. And a powerful combination of his long friendship with LeBron, their shared representation, and the perfect basketball fit on a championship-caliber roster made this whole scenario feel less like idle speculations and more like a very real possibility. With every passing day, each piece of the sequence reinforced the one before it, and the result is one of the absolute most discussed storylines of the entire NBA offseason. What this moment reflects about the league is far bigger than any single transaction. The influence that veteran superstars continue to exercise over NBA roster construction, franchise direction, and championship conversations is clearly not diminishing today. If anything, the unique ability of players like LeBron James to reshape the entire landscape with a single decision has grown even stronger as the league has evolved over time. His move to Philadelphia did not just elevate one franchise, it sent every rival contender right back to the drawing board, forcing every front office to reassess how they were building. It made every single free agent conversation that followed carry massive additional weight because of how dramatically the title picture had already shifted. That is the rare kind of gravitational pull very few players in any sport have ever possessed, and LeBron has successfully exercised it multiple times across the arc of his legendary career. And Draymond Green understands that dynamic better than almost anyone. Having competed directly against LeBron at his absolute best while maintaining a close personal relationship with him means that whatever crucial decision he ultimately makes will be one of the most deeply informed and deliberate choices made by any high-profile player in this entire offseason. And when key players around a superstar begin to position themselves in ways that align with exactly where that superstar has chosen to be, the domino effect on the rest of the league is real and immediate. Draymond Green's situation sits directly inside that exact dynamic. His decision, whatever it ultimately turns out to be, will certainly not happen in isolation from everything LeBron James has already set in motion. The entire basketball world knows about that connection, and it is watching closely. Whether Draymond Green ends up in Philadelphia or remains in Golden State, the massive conversation this story has generated has already accomplished something highly significant. It has demonstrated that single blockbuster superstar signing can instantly transform how every single connected free agent situation in the league is read. It has shown that a deep friendship forged across years of finals battles is now being taken seriously as a primary driver of one of the biggest roster moves this entire offseason has produced. And it has reminded everyone watching that the absolute biggest stories in basketball rarely arrive fully formed. They begin with just one decision, gather deep meaning as the circumstances align, and gain momentum through private conversations happening in rooms most fans will never see. What looked like a single signing one week quickly became the centerpiece of an entirely different story the next week. The NBA has its biggest offseason question on the table, and Draymond Green has a huge decision to make. The entire league is waiting on this, and any player who gets what that crazy roster could become is watching very closely. The real answer is still on the way. If you think Draymond Green belongs in Philly, sharing the floor with LeBron James, Joel Embiid, Jaylen Brown, and Tyrese Maxey, drop your take in the comments and let us know just how far you think this squad can actually go. Do they win a championship in year one, or will it take a lot of time to build real chemistry around that many stars? We want to hear your projection on this. And if you are not subscribed yet, make sure you hit that button and turn on those notifications because this massive story is still developing. And we will be right here when the next major move drops.